Malo today, everyone. Welcome to another Polynesianized podcast. We are grateful to have a guest here, Alfie Mafi. Very grateful for his time that he was set aside to join us on this Polynesianized podcast episode. I am Mr. Aotearoa or Masi from New Zealand, living currently in South Auckland. Very very good day today to us. It's a Sabbath here in our neck of the woods on the southern hemisphere. I know it's still Saturday, but everything's going well for me over here. How about you, Tua?
Yeah, things are going well. It's a Saturday here in Las Vegas. So the weather is getting cooler, which is what we like. And it's been raining.
Mm,
Nevada is the driest state in the union, only gets about 10 inches of rain every year.
mm.
So we're pretty grateful whenever the water does arrive to us. And as you said, Masi, we're pretty excited for Alfie joining us. And we'll give him an opportunity to do a quick intro. And then we're going to get it hot to go right off the
Let's
bat
go.
with our first topic. But Alfie, go ahead and make an intro, please.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Alifeleti Mafi. Most of you will know me for as Alfie Mafi. I was born and raised in Tonga. I moved to Australia when I was 8. I went to school at Granville Boys. I was a high school dropout. Ended up working at McDonald's for 3 months, then turned professional for 15 years in rugby. So when rugby finished, I now own gyms. I'm a business owner. I'm in a car dealership, and now I'm trying the content creating online and arguing with people and trying to be as big as Steven Setu.
Mm.
Maria,
Are you trying
Maria.
to be as big physically, or are you trying to be as big socially and influencing wise?
Let's go all of the above for now.
Why settle? Take it, all of it. Take all the
Take it
marbles.
all. Let me
Yeah.
get there first, and I'll make my judgment after. Maybe he's happy. I don't know.
Mm,
Hey, no, that's awesome. Really appreciate your time, Alfie.
yeah.
Yeah, I
As you
appreciate.
as you mentioned, ever since I don't know if it's the algorithms, but ever since we reached out to you to join us, my feed has been full with a lot of your content. So
Yeah,
from my perspective, you've had a very busy couple months, and
yeah.
really want to start with the one that's right off the press with Joseph Parker and our other Tongan brother, Junior Fa, I think is his name,
Yep.
the boxer commentator. What's the deal with that? What was the initial, we want to call it
So
beef, but discussion
no,
there?
definitely not beef. What it is when I see a hater, whether you're a Tongan or whatever you are, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. So Joseph Parker, look, I don't know about you guys, but if you're not a boxing fan, we've all known Joseph Parker to be a humble guy, family guy, religious guy. He's never been in trouble in boxing. Never done any
Hmm.
drugs, never been accused of cheating or anything like that. And then how do we go from how many years he's been in boxing? I don't know, on top of my head, maybe 15, 18 years. Never been in trouble. And they're trying to tell us on the most important fight of his career, he's going to go and snort some coke before the fight, knowing well he's had almost 40
Yeah,
fights. He's had
yeah.
almost
Mm,
40 fights. And he knows for a fact he's getting drug tested after the fight, before the fight, well before the fight, well after the fight. So why, after 18 years, he's just going to go and snort some coke? So I come out and said that I don't believe it. I don't believe what they're trying to say. We all know boxing to be corrupt, and they pay off people and they have their own little agenda that they want to push. And then Junior Fire started coming out. And at first, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But he's reporting because he told me I'm just a boxing reporter. I just report on facts. And I said to him, well, that's not facts. It's an allegation that he's snorted coke.
Hmm.
And the more I watch his content on Joseph Parker, it's clear to me that he's biased. Not once he ever defended Joseph Parker. Not once he ever pointed out the fact that this guy was clean for 18 years. He's never done anything wrong. But all he's done is insinuated that Joseph Parker did do this. He did snort the coke, and this is what's going to happen to him. This is what happens. I think if I'm trying to quote him, but if I do, who cares? He said, "This is what happens when your personal life decision gets in the way of your career." That's his opening statement on the video on Joseph Parker.
Mm.
So what's he trying to say? That is he insinuating that Joseph Parker on his private life he's snorting coke? That's
mm,
Sounds
that's
like
how
he's
I took
already
it.
made his decision, right? He's
Yeah,
already made a
sound like
judgment.
he's already made a judgment. And then other videos come out of him saying that if the B sample comes out clean, then they've got to do an investigation, and then people in his comment section won't sound very crazy for thinking that it was contaminated or tampered with. Because he's saying the people, because everybody in his comment section are saying Joseph never did this. We know Joseph Parker; he will never do drugs, and he's saying that they're crazy for thinking that, and they're crazy for thinking that in boxing they can tamper with evidence and they can switch out your piss tests and stuff. And that's where we're at. So I made a video just saying you're a hater, you're this and that, and then he private messaged me, and we had a little, nothing bad.
Back and
We
forth.
exchanged back and forth. I stopped replying. When you talk to people and you just realize you're never going to get through to them, and he's never going to get through to me. So when I realized that point, I just stopped replying because I'm like, okay, whatever I sent to you, you're not going to agree with, and whatever you sent to me, I'm not going to agree with. So I just left it at that. But then Louis, I don't know if you guys know Louis Ova.
Oh, that
yeah,
other
yeah,
the
yeah,
other Tongan
yeah,
creator.
yeah.
The other Tongan. So what did he do? He come out and pretty much said that why I put out this video is because I must hate him from another recent event that happened. I don't know if you guys know much about the Australian march.
No.
No.
So there was a big Australian march for sure. The whole immigration things.
Oh,
Just
okay.
like
This was like a couple months ago.
yeah. So
Yes. Yes.
people in Australia were gonna go and march for Australia first to stop the border, stop letting all these people come through, so we can fix the country first.
Yeah.
And a lot of islanders were starting to get on the back of this march and wanting me included. I wanted to go march for it too. Turns out a couple of days before the march, they come out and said that apparently it was organized by a bunch of Nazis. And then Junior had come along, and said that any islander that wants to go to this march is an idiot. So then this is where Louis Ova thinks that it stems from. He thinks it stems from because he called us an idiot and I wanted to march, but it's not. I just literally called out Junior for being a hater.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that when these things happen, you have to look at the full record, and this is definitely out of character for Joseph Parker. And there was a time where I thought Joseph Parker's career was going to be done after he lost the belt the first time. And to his credit, he recognized he needed to do something different, right? He changed. He got the new coaching staff, new whole group, started going overseas to Tyson Fury's group, I think. Spent a lot of time with them, and it showed, right? It really showed. He got bigger. It always looked like he was trying to cut weight. I think they made him switch his mind and maybe build a little more muscle, get more power, and he started knocking people out. And the fact that he had shown that commitment, and like you said, just a track record of not getting in trouble, not causing any issues, it's out of character, and you always just have to wait and see. You can't jump to a conclusion very quickly.
How can hey, people, listen to this logically. Explain how somebody can stay clean for 18 years and we see him as a family man. He goes to church. He has 5 girls. All that. And how can he just go from that to just snorting coke the day of the fight or the day before the fight? Logically, it makes no sense. Do you know what I mean? It just... But these are the same people. The people who believe this are the same people who probably believed, every other thing that we went through 5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
These
with
people
COVID
just
and all that craziness.
These are the same people who just read something and go, "Oh, did you see that? Oh, we knew it. We knew that Joseph Parker guy was a fake. He was pretending this whole time." This is what they want to believe. It's the hate. It's the jealousy. And for Junior, it's hard for him to get rid of it because they've had their time, because they both grew up out of New Zealand, and they had their fights, and one's career took off and one didn't. So he'll deny it to the day he'll die, but he can't deny the fact that there's some sort of jealousy there. That because he even thinks he beat Joseph Parker when they fought. But
I don't remember. Go ahead, Alfie.
No, I was just going to repeat the fact that, but the people who believe this to be true, that he snorted coke, are also the same people who believed in COVID, believed in this, believed in that, because they're easily manipulated. Whatever they see, they believe. Without waiting because the A sample is not fact. That's an allegation. That's them saying, hey, we're just going to raise this to you.
Yeah,
Your A
you've
sample
raised the
came back.
flag. That's really all
Yeah,
that says.
yeah. And the B sample is you got to test that as well. Why not wait for that? Why come out and
Mm,
insinuate off the bat
mm.
that he's guilty? Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But also, we also got to look at the fact that boxing is a corrupt sport. It's a corrupt sport, and we've seen it time and time again. And fighters who fought in the past and present talk about how corrupt it is, and how there's politics, and how these promoters, they kind of control what happens. And but people are just going to ignore all that and just believe what they want to believe anyway. Whether that's because of jealousy, whether that's because they're just not all there in the head, but I don't know.
Masi, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's always good to always be patient. We live in a world where instant gratification or instant reaction is very, very common.
Yeah.
I heard when I heard when Joseph Parker tested positive, but I always know when these professional sports, even the NFL guys, they always wait because one, they probably took some medication that was mixed with other things and it was unintentional, or like what Alfie kind of mentioned, it's just there's a couple samples, just test all of it and then wait for the conclusion of the findings. And to me, with these things, you just have to be patient and then just wait till all the evidence is presented before you make
Hmm.
judgment. That's how I carry. That's how I perceive and move on in life. And I just know that's how I do it. But every year, we're moving to a world where it's instant. We want instant answers. We want instant comments. We want instant reaction. And love is driven on social media, and this is where we are today. But like I said, it's good to look at his record history. And people who have a nice and good record history always give them the benefit of the doubt. That's how I kind of do things, and
And
I
then,
think it's applicable here.
and these people with these mindsets were talking about how they want quick they want quick results, they want quick answers. If you look deep into their life, they always fall into the left. I know you got that's how you guys call it, the woke left.
Hmm.
If you look into
The
their life,
victim mentality.
the victim. If you look into Junior Farr's life, he's an atheist. He was a Mormon. He left it and bagged the
Mm,
Mormon church on his way out.
Hmm.
He's pro. Look, he's pro. How do you call them? The hyper, the ABC community. He's pro that. He's,
Oh,
Alpha,
the
he's
alphabet
pro
alphabet
mafia.
mafia.
I
the
call them the
alphabet
alphabet
mafia.
mafia.
He's pro, yeah, them. He's pro that. He's pro. I don't know what you guys stance about Palestine and that, but he's pro these things that I wouldn't
Hmm.
want to be a part of. And it's
Yeah.
just
Mm,
funny to me because when I look into his life, I said, well, of course that's why you have these stands. You don't believe in
mm,
anything. You're a feather in the wind. You go with how you feel. You were a Mormon. You didn't feel good being a Mormon, so you left. Instead of leaving quietly, you leave and you have to bang the church out. For some reason, the church was so bad to you, they did nothing to you.
mm,
And then he
Mm.
would leave and just say all these things. And it doesn't surprise me now that he's talking about a guy named Joseph Parker that he knows personally and that we've all seen with our own eyes that he's never done anything wrong. But
Yeah.
again,
And that's, I guess, I didn't know too much details of how well they know each other, but when you know
he knows
someone,
him.
usually you're a little hesitant to just jump
mm,
and say he's
Yeah,
guilty. Usually you're like,
yeah,
hey, look, you take the neutral position. Even if you don't
yeah.
like the guy, it's smart business, it's smart politics to just say, I'm not going to say anything. We'll wait for the facts to come out. That's what even
Exactly.
if you don't like the person, you take the
mm.
smart, and it sounds to me it's
Well,
not far-fetched to say that it's personal because the assumption he jumped into.
but he'll deny it to the day he dies. But you see,
Mm,
you can't hide these little things. Like I said before, his first opening line when he reported on Joseph Parker taking cocaine was, "This is what happens when personal life gets in the way of your career." That's a slight little dig at Joseph Parker. Whether I don't know what he's talking about, but he's insinuating to us that in his personal life
It's not in
he's
order.
taking, yeah. But then our eyes will see something different. We've never seen him get in trouble. We've seen him to be this nice guy. All of a sudden, they want us to believe that he took anyway. And that's where we're
mm,
at with that.
Okay.
mm,
No, and that's a fair thing. And I was very hopeful when Junior Fa was coming up in early in his career in the amateurs. I was like, the guy's got the size.
Yeah.
He's kind of has a decent pedigree. Really hoping he was gonna really mature into something, and then it looks like he just wasn't able to get over the hump. And
Yeah.
that's the, like, whether it's life, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whether it's your faith, you got to get over the hump. It doesn't matter
Mm.
what you do, there's always the hump. And if you can't get over the hump, it's hard to get real success.
You know,
And
they
it's
always
difficult.
talk about God never gives you too much for you to handle. God would always give you enough that you can handle. And clearly God didn't give him this life as being a star because he can't handle it.
Mm.
He would not have been able to handle being a star. That's why he never got anywhere. His mindset was fried. Everything about him, his personal life, what he put out online, he's just a frail individual. And this is what happens. When you're frail like this, you just go wherever the wind takes you. And when people come along and try to point at somebody that we all know who's a good person and trying to tell us that he's bad, what does he do? He jumps on it because he's like, yes, this is my opportunity. I was right. All these years I was right about Joseph. And this is where it stems from. Anyway.
Interesting. Next one. Next one is I think it was Steven Setu, your idol. Your idol. You said you want to get to
Yes.
the Steven Setu. Steven Setu's hilarious. A lot of times I don't always agree with a lot that he does, but he is pretty funny. A little too crude for my personal taste, but he has some funny takes. What started that beef, or that, we use the word beef. It's not necessarily that it's personal, but what
Yeah.
led to that interaction? What was the driver behind that?
No, but I like what you said there. You don't agree with everything you said, but you like
Yeah.
some of it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But you don't go online and try and shoot this guy down.
Yeah.
That's how you should live your life. Like every mate I have, we don't agree on any, like we probably agree on 10% of all topics.
Mhm.
But I like that with my friends. This is why my own business partner is the same thing. We believe in different religions. We debate every day when we're with each other. He's telling me my church is wrong. I'm telling, but this is healthy. But
Hmm.
people are so quick to just want to agree with everything you say. And if you muck up a little bit on something, or you don't agree with what they think, they're quick to try and shut you down. They try to, throw shade at you. They try to bring up the past just to knock you down because you don't agree with them and they don't agree with you. But the whole Stephen Settle thing, I said this to Stephen Settle. He called me yesterday to ask me about the junior far thing. He go, he calls and he goes, Solid, what's going on with Junior Far? I was like, look, nothing. But I said to him when he called me, I said, look, Junior Far reckons I'm chasing his clout. And I said to Junior Far, to be honest, brother, the only clout I ever wanted was the Teletubbies. What was Steven said to me.
Yeah. He's
Because
uncancelable. They've tried to
yeah,
cancel this guy a million times. He is in
yeah.
many ways somewhat untouchable.
He's the only guy, and I've admitted this to Stephen. I admitted to all my friends. I said he's the only guy that I purposely, and I thought about it. I'm going to go after Stephen. I want to see if he will reply back to me. And all my content I was making about Tonga versus Samoa during the rugby was directed towards Stephen. And then he
Mhm.
finally answered. And then our whole thing was just a bit of fun. Look, as Islanders, when we banter sometimes, it comes out a bit, is he serious or is he not serious? Because that's how I banter with my friends. That's how I banter with my family. It's borderline
Mhm.
like you're gonna make them cry, but you're still, you're still friends.
Mhm.
And we had our back and forth. Stephen even admitted to me that during that month he made $7,000.
Good for him.
$7,000 of Instagram and
Off the content.
of the content. And I said to him, to be honest, Stephen, when you left, I felt lost. I was like, I felt lost. My biggest numbers was, and I said to him, my biggest numbers that I ever done was with you. He
Mhm.
goes, he's like, call me daddy. He's like, call me daddy.
Well, and you bring up that's a very important concept. There's a guy named Simon Sinek. He's written some books. It's called Start With Why, The Infinite Game. And one of the things that he mentions in there is how important it is to have not an enemy, but a worthy rival. That's what you
Yeah,
want. You want
he
a
was my
rival,
friend.
because the rival is what drives the growth, and it gives you something to work towards, and gives you that necessity to be creative and to go beyond what you typically do. And that's something that is needed. That's important, right? But
Yeah,
the other mindset in some of the people that you mentioned earlier, Alfie, they don't want rivals. They want to
victims,
squash everyone, right?
victim
Everyone,
mentality.
everyone, exactly. So they can't handle they can't handle having a rival because they only see it as oppressor and oppressed. They don't see it as a
100%.
rival, and so that's
Of
why it's
course.
never a productive relationship. But that's something that's really important, and I think for those out there, whether it's business, whether it's content creating, whether it's sports, whatever it is,
Mm.
don't hate your rival to the point that it's unproductive. You need a rival. Just like in boxing, you wouldn't have a Muhammad Ali if it wasn't for a George Foreman. Some of these great fighters, if it was just Muhammad Ali by himself, nobody would remember Muhammad
Mm.
Ali. But it was because he had
Yeah.
great rivals. You actually need other people to get
Well, it's
to this high
competition,
level.
isn't it? It's
Yes,
competition.
yes.
Competition brings out the best in people.
Mm.
And I'm not even gonna lie, during Steven, my little thing with Steven Setu, he got me out of my comfort zone to make videos and be creative with my video. Because I'm like, I'm gonna get you back. And I
Yeah.
started thinking outside the box. I was making little,
Mm.
video clips where I'm sad and stuff. But that I never would have done that if it wasn't for Steven. Because the rivalry,
Mm,
like we just talked about, the rivalry is there, and the pressure is for me to perform. And when pressure's on me, I like performing. That's why my videos did well, because I wanted to get Steven back. And then
mhm,
then like I said, when he left, I'm like, man, what do I do now? I got to go back to my normal content. And it's not the, to be honest, this is not the kind of content I want to make. But I made a video the other week and I said, I understand this. And I understand in order for me to get views right now, I have to go down this route. I know some
mhm,
people said to me, "Oh, Toko, why don't you just stick to the truth and just grind it out?" I'm like, no, 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 no. I need to get there quick, because you only have a limited time on this earth, and I need to start making money. And in order for me to get views, so I can, to get attention, I need to make these little funny videos where I'm arguing with people. And once I garnish all these attention and all these views and followers, then I'll slowly maneuver into the health and fitness stuff. Then I'll slowly start introducing stuff to help my people. But right, because if I go,
mm.
because I've done an experiment. When I started, I only put out training video and boxing videos. Nobody cares. It turns out
Mm.
people don't want
There's
to
a
watch, and
million
people
people
like,
doing that. There's a million people
and
doing
people
that.
like, yeah, and people like drama. So I
Mm.
sat down one day. I go, okay, well, clearly this isn't working, and my views are telling me this. My followers are telling me this. So what do I need to do? All right, I need to switch it up. I need to put myself out there more and put my opinions out there, because I've never been the one to shy away from my opinion, and I know online people who stand firm on certain topics tend to get views, because people want a voice sometime. And I'm not saying I'm the guy for this, but I just understand that. I understand that people sometimes are too shy to go online and share their opinion, and it's much better
Mm.
for them to have somebody else say it for them, so they can come and back them. So the moment I understood that, that's when my following started to grow. I started
Mm.
putting my opinions out there. I started just calling out people, and I went from 4,000. I started in beginning of May, end of April, beginning of May. I started on 4,000 followers. We're now in November. I'm up almost at 16,000. So clearly
Wow,
something is,
nicely done.
yeah, clearly something is working. But like I said to people, I don't want to do this forever. But I understand, in order for me to get attention and followers, I got to go down this route. And Lord and behold, you'll see it eventually in a year or maybe two. You start to see that my content is going to go back to, I want to motivate the island people. I want to instill the mindset of having dreams and having a purpose in life, and not just, as an islander growing up in Australia, we're known for two things: you're either a sports person or a factory worker.
Mm,
There's not a lot of business owners here. So I'm trying to, that's where I'm going. I want to go where I can inspire islanders to get out there and be uncomfortable. Get out there and put yourself out there and have people judge you. And who cares if they judge you? And this is where the
mm,
training part comes into. If you work on yourself physically, your mental will come with it. So when you've done all the work and then people come and try and question your character, it doesn't faze me, because I know who I am. I know me in the core of me. I know who I am as a person. So that's why when they come at me, it doesn't faze me.
mm.
So
100%. Masi, anything there? I have a question
Oh no, you
to
go
bring
ahead,
up.
because I have another. I was just gonna ask another from a different
No, go ahead. Ask
topic,
it,
but
Masi. Let's do it.
oh no, I was gonna say, why the gym? Why did you have this idea to start a gym? I know, is it specifically that you love health and well being kind of thing, or Do you have a goal or just something more helping the Polynesian community? Why create this gym, Alfie?
I'll be honest. When I finished playing professional rugby, I had no dreams. I had nothing. I wasn't inspiring to be anything. I was going to fall back into going into the factory. That's the honest God truth. And I did go back to the factory for 2 weeks.
Mm,
So when I retired, I convinced myself that this is what I wanted to do after rugby. I wanted just to go into a factory, work with my brothers and sisters, because I knew they were all in there, and just enjoy the rest of my life and just put on a lot of weight. And who cares? I'm going to be happy. Well, I quickly found out that wasn't the case. I was miserable. So on just coming up on 2 weeks, I ran into a Tongan guy that he was related to a guy that I used to play rugby with. And in there, when he saw me, he said, "Alfie," and I've told this story many times. "Alfie, oh my God, you used to play in stadiums full of people. Now you're working in the factory with me," and that
mm,
broke me. The moment I heard that, I go, "Wow." He was like, "Bro, you played in stadiums full of people. Now you're working with me in a factory," and that led me to quit. I quit the next day. After that comment, I quit the next day, and this is where I ended up at the gym. So and I'll be honest, I don't have a degree. I'm a high school dropout. I have nothing to my name. All I have is an opportunity, and all I have is a mindset. And when I went into the gym, I met my business partner in the gym. He started Aussie Fitness. So
Mm.
I'm not the founder of this. He started this first gym with him and his wife. And I come
mm,
in there just to work as a personal trainer. And then he was like, "You're an ex-professional rugby player?" It's like, what are you doing PTing? You have the mindset to do whatever you want. And slowly and surely he brought back that rugby mentality, like having goals, having a purpose. This is what we got to do for this year. And then this is where the whole thing came about. I hope that
Yeah.
answered
mm.
your question.
No,
So,
it did.
and then
Follow,
now,
follow.
and now with the helping of my island people, so it's only in the
Mm,
last 2-3 years that I'm really diving into my Tongan culture. Because back before
mm,
that, I didn't really pay attention to it. I just kind of left it. But now I see, because I see all my island people in my comment sections, when I see them out on the in the public, when I see them, they're all concrete workers, factory workers. They have no dreams. They have no purpose. And some of them are happy like that. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Some people
mm,
want that life. That's all
Hmm.
good. I'm talking to the people who want something more. I can help them with that. I can help you with the mindset of wanting to achieve whatever you want. But it just requires hard work. And what
mm,
I've come to realize, a lot of people fail at that first part, turning up and putting your head down and working hard because they want the quick results. They
Yeah.
want to come in and like expect in 6 months that if they start a business, they're going to be millionaires. And then they're going to find out that when the tax man comes around and then takes all your money, you're left with a little bit of profit. And then what do you do with that? You invest it back into your companies. So
Yeah.
right now we're in the building phases,
mm,
but this is where it comes from. And I'm sure I can do something with my island people. I'm sure I'm going to create a program that's going to help a lot of them, even if it's just losing weight. That's
mm,
where I can start, and
Hmm.
mm,
then off that we can create another program where we can talk to some of these, especially the younger generation coming through with their mindset and having a purpose, and not just thinking you're going to play professional rugby and then after that just go back into a factory. That's the
mm,
long-term goal. Short-term goal, get as many views and followers as possible, and then transfer it into how can I help you now that I have your attention, and over these years you've trusted my opinions and me as a person. Now let me help you.
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, appreciate that. We're gonna go to another topic. This is one of Masi's favorite topics.
What's up?
Please.
What's
He
up?
it's Masi, you're gonna love it. Don't worry. It's
Eh, eh.
Christian, your brother, Christian Wolf.
Oh,
What
Let's get Alfie. Let's get our brother
yeah, I want to
Alfie.
get Alfie's
Give your
opinion on
opinion
this.
here after the
So
two embarrassing performances. But go ahead, Alfie. You give your
yeah,
opinion. You want to keep
you're
the guy, or
yes. Go
lose
ahead,
the
Masi.
guy?
Why don't you present the question since this
All
is
You
right,
asked the
something near
question.
and dear to you?
all right. So I've been a proponent of Christian Wolf. We should have got rid of him, especially after that second World Cup. I think after the 2017, he went to the playoffs, right? Give him another shot, and then after that second World Cup, I wasn't a fan of who the guys he put on, and especially with the talent that we had, that we came really short, and we lost to Ha'amoa, and Ha'amoa went to the final, right? So now it's just being evident in everyone's eyes that these two, I'm not expecting them to like win, but like at least be competitive, right? You're talking about no tries in the first half in both games, right?
Mm.
Alfie, this is what I'm thinking. This is, and people, I've been hearing comments that say, "Oh, it's the players." I was like, dude, the coaches prepare the game plan. The coaches prepares these guys' mindset before they enter the field. The coaches emphasizes what they need to work on, and you're telling me the coaches has nothing to do to prepare these guys to not even score a try, and these are professional NRL players in the first half. I just found I just found that very embarrassing. And the other fact is Christian, and a lot of it has to do with there's two. In order to be a winner, right? Mate Matonga has graduated from being grateful for the wins that we have in the international stage. Now we're like, we can win something with the team and the talent that we have, especially with the talent that we have. Not to score the first two tries, grateful that all the fans came out, but the fans and the treatment of our players will only keep going as long as we put a good product on the field. So
Mm.
I just feel like there's been a management. Another problem is we don't even know how did Eliesa Katoa, now he's already been called that he's not going to play for the entire year. So you're getting people's livelihood going to be affected. And a lot of it has to do, livelihood affected, and Tonga didn't win any game in the Pacific. I know the good news is it's not the World Cup, right? These are just games to prepare for the most important games, which is the pinnacle, the World Rugby League World Cup, which is next year. And a lot of it has to do with the issues of, to me, the head coach. I mean, the reason why management make changes to teams, it's not because they're going to switch a few players here and there. They change the coach. The coach is in charge of the management and the performance. That's who it falls to. So Christian Wolf, in my opinion, I'm grateful that he's recruited. He did his job in those first two, but now we need to get to a mindset of winning. And I believe Mate Matonga is, I don't know. That is a attractive team that coaches we can attract top level coaches that would want to be a part of the Red Wave. So that's my thing. Alfie, I don't know if you had any ideas on that, but it looks like Christian Wolf, he did say he was gonna give up the reign for a new head coach. It
Masi
looks
was
like he went back
excited
on
for a
his word.
little bit.
He did say that. He did say that, but he looks like it's hard to let go of power and authority and attention. He's been getting a lot of the attention stuff, so it looks like he's going to lead us to another World Cup. And I mean, the perfect example is the All Blacks are winner team. I mean, you got coaches that who didn't make it to a World Cup, they get let go. They even win like multiple games in the knockout stages. Don't get to the World Cup, they get let go. That's what winner teams do when you've been winning. And that's the mindset that I feel like we need to go. But there's also some things that it's hard to let Christian Wolf go because now he's running everything. Apparently, there's no board. That's why it's called Tonga 13, because it's not really Matema Tonga. They're called Tonga 13 because there's still some politics that looks like Christian Wolf does not want to help build, and maybe that's another issue. If he really wanted to do more, if he can fix out that politic issue, which I think he can, if he just people just needs to eat some humble pie, and maybe not having the name Mate Matonga is probably trickling down to some other issues. And obviously, we're not winning. And those two performances were very embarrassing. Like I said, can't score a try in the first two games of the Pacific Championship, and this is the team that are all stars in their individual clubs. So that's just me there, Alfie.
Yes.
You give your
So
thoughts if you want to keep him or
the
let
stock,
him
the
go.
stock
There's
on
yeah.
Christian Wolf. Are you gonna buy or sell that stock?
I Let me answer this as professional as possible because there was a lot of questions in there, and I think this is a loaded question because there's so many avenues you can dissect and talk about with this whole situation. But I'll just say this off the bat: a lot of the times when professional teams are losing, the first person we look to blame is the coach. And I've been in teams, and look, when they were at the last, which World Cup was it, in New Zealand? Okay, we should have
Mhm.
made the semi-finals that year with him as coach, and we missed out because the ref made a silly call. We also beat Australia with Christian. We also beat New Zealand with Christian. The last two games that we had, is it an embarrassment? In my eyes, I don't think so. It's just sometimes these things happen in sports. The other team was just better. We just didn't turn up to play. That's not a reflection on the coach, to me anyway. Because I've been in
Okay.
teams and I know how the boys are. Did maybe the Tongan trip get too much to the boys' head where they were celebrating a bit too much, staying up a little bit later than usual, having too much all day? Maybe. Could you say maybe the coach should have controlled that more? Maybe. But to me, I would keep Christian for this. He's built relationship with some of these players. And sometimes when you're in the professional team, those are the kind of people you want to play for. I know the last two games won't say, you can't say people will say, well, they didn't play for him in those last two games because they got flogged. Look, this is sports. These things happen. But to go again at the coach, and I heard you use the All Blacks analogy, they always get a new coach. It's hard because that's the All Blacks. Everybody wants to coach the All Blacks. Nobody is knocking on Tonga's door to coach him. So if you let Christian go, who's going to step in and fill that shoe? Now you got to try and build for what, a year before World Cup? It's you can't. You can't just bring in a new coach now and try to build a whole new relationship. Because what is he? He might come in, the new coach, whoever he is, he might come and change the whole combination up. He might say, all right, you're gonna bench, you're gonna play. And then it will just ruin everything with Tonga has worked towards. I say we keep him for the World Cup. After the World Cup, we'll see how he does. If it's bad, then we can say, look, buddy, you've done all you can. I think it's time we shake hands. And I think he would be happy with that. But I think he's earned the right to stay for another World Cup because he's been through it with these boys. Andrew Fifita and Jason Damalolo started this movement, but also people wanted to play for Christian. You see their relationship with the boys. They're like friends. They're like family. They dab him up. They're hugging. So that is hard to get from a coach. So let's give him a chance. Let's see what happens in the World Cup. If they play bad in the World Cup, then he can say, all right, I've done all I can. It's time for me to move on. And then we can all shake hands. But we can't just ignore the fact that he's done all this hard work for Tonga. He's put on all these hard yards. And just because the last two games they flopped, the players have to kind of put their hand up and go, well, although he's our coach, but we were the one out there playing for 80 minutes. And I've touched on the Katoa situation a couple of times, but I'll just touch on it one more time. Was there mismanagement? 100% there was. 100%. But I'm not going to sit here and say that the coach, Christian Wolf, knew how badly hurt he was and just let him go out there and play. Was there maybe, because I don't know if you guys ever done a HIA test, it's very difficult to pass. And the fact that he passed it blows my mind because I've been concussed a lot of times and I've failed a lot of it. I'll fail it if I wasn't concussed. When he got knocked out in the warm-up, I want to know who was there. Was there a doctor there or was it just the physios? Was it just the trainer? Because those were the people that were supposed to relate the message back to the coach. But again, this is a very loaded question. There's a lot of things we're going to go on and talk about it. But in a nutshell, I would keep Christian Wolf personally. I think he's good for Tonga. I think he's done amazing things for Tonga. And I'm old school, by the way. Like I'm loyal. So if a guy helped us get to certain places and help us beat certain teams, yes, I'll stick with that guy. But let's give him a alternative. Let's give him a how do you say it when you just we should just tell him, look, World Cup is your last chance. If we don't perform, you're on your way out.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective is if I knew what I knew now, because I agree, it's a little too late down the road. We were having this conversation, Masi, what,
Well,
2 years ago?
yes.
Yeah.
Remember, it was early in the year. Christian Wolf announced that he was going to step away so that a new coach
Mm-hmm.
would have this time to
Who
prepare.
was
And
the new
obviously,
coach?
he said he was going to step down, and then somebody will find a new coach in the
Probably
early
couldn't
this
find
year.
anybody, and they probably couldn't find nobody. And they came back to him and said, "Hey, look, nobody wants to coach Tonga. Do you mind staying?" Because you know when he said the All
I don't
Blacks
know
thing,
if I would buy that no one would coach Tonga. Maybe not someone at with the pedigree of
but,
Coach
but
Wolf winning some championships. But I mean,
I agree with you. Nobody's buying
yeah,
nobody, but it's not the people we want for the job. You're not going to
yeah.
take a new coach who's never done anything and just put all the weight on him. They would have looked
Mm.
at options, and the options weren't great. That's probably why they kept him. I'm telling you,
Well,
if they had a
yes.
better option, if
Yeah.
they had a better option, he would have been gone already.
Well, see, this is where I'll push back a little bit. Alfie is who's they? who was they looking? Who were the people looking for a new coach? Because there is no official structure
There's
for the
no
Yeah.
like the
accountability in the board.
matemato.
Yeah.
There is no process to
Mm.
to say oh yes, we're gonna go look for a coach. We don't know who those people are or whatever. It seems to be somewhat of a disarray because of
Okay.
that structure. We don't know what that looks like. I like what no, it was almost shortly after the World Cup where Masi and I and our brothers were having this conversation. I was in the position you're in right now, Alfie, right? I was like, hey, look, he's brought some great victories. It's a little disappointing, but let's ride with him because we don't know, we don't have enough data, right? I will say now that we are where we are now, if I knew what I knew now, but rewind 2 years, I
Mm.
would say switch the coach. But we're already too late. The timing is important, and I agree with the perspective of we're too close to the World Cup that a change
Yeah.
now. We've already made our bed. We're gonna sleep in it now and find out. But I would say that if I were to know what I know now, because maybe it's just the sports culture we have here in America, but it is you perform or you didn't perform.
It's
And
Yeah.
ruthless.
that has its
Yeah.
pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
There's pros to that and there's cons to it. And honestly, looking at those last two, it's not that we lost, it's the way that we
How we
lost.
lost.
And it's we'll see. I'm hoping. I like
But
Christian Wolf. I think he's
yeah.
a great person. He's sacrificed a lot and he's shown he can win. What I don't understand is he's shown he can win at the highest level in the club areas. I just don't know why it's not translating to the international. The consistency of winning, but he's done some
I
great things.
look.
I can't argue with that.
Who chose him in the first place?
That's a
The
good
Tonga
question.
board. Well,
Was
The
there
it
was a
Tongan
board.
board.
there was a
Yes.
board in the first place?
That's when it
Yeah,
was Mate Matonga, and then I don't know if you remember, Alfie. Then the board wanted to get rid of him after that first World Cup, and I disagreed with the board. And then that's when the whole politics
the whole
happened
thing
with
split.
the board split because the players didn't want a new coach. They wanted to keep uh, Christian Wolf, and I agree with that. Give him another chance. So
Yeah.
now Christian Wolf is running everything. That's why I don't know if you noticed. It's not saying Mate Matonga as advertisement. It's just called Tonga 13. So the Mate
Oh,
Matonga and
really?
that seal, yeah,
Yeah, they
that Tongan
because
Ah, I didn't
the
know
seal,
that.
yeah,
TNRL owns that
Tonga
trademark.
owns that. Yeah, Tonga owns
Okay.
that. Mate Tonga, that logo, and they're just called Tonga 13. And there's been no effort, in my understanding, from Christian Wolf to try to sort that issue. And now there's no accountability. There's no board who's actually looking or appointing coaches. This is Christian Wolf and whoever guys he brought that are receiving all the money, receiving all all the whole management, the doctors, whoever, everything that's going on with MMT. It's all those guys, and we don't know those guys. It's just Christian Wolf.
Mm.
He's the leader. He's not just the coach, but he's managing also everything with going on. So
Hmm.
that's kind of the
Interesting.
politics that's happening.
Yeah. Anything?
Well,
Any
you
last
know,
any
you know
last
the
words
fact
on
that
that topic? Go ahead, Alfie.
you just brought up that he's managing all this and still be able to coach a team, I think that's something to admire. That's a lot of stress. To have that amount of stress, and I agree, we should probably get rid of him after the World Cup if we do bad, but we should also hold Tonga accountable to why don't we have this system? We should the Tongan people or the Tongan or somebody should start a board and come up and say, look, this is what we're going to do from now on. Because if he's in charge of everything, yeah, that's I agree, that's not good. But if
Yeah,
there's no other alternative, it's like, oh, we're stuck in this weird little, what do we do?
Mm.
yeah,
But give him a
yeah,
chance.
yeah. Well,
Christian
we have
Wolf.
no option now, right? We have no
Christian
option.
Wolf, hire
He
me.
will be
Hire
given a
me as a
chance.
social media.
Yeah,
There we go. There we go. There we go. You got to support it,
yeah,
Christian Wolf. Hopefully,
yeah.
get you because you're doing some awesome content.
But
Um,
can I just
yeah,
touch on something? Sorry, but do you know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
no,
this?
no, go ahead.
After we lost these two games, what did we see though? We saw the Tongan people come together.
100%.
We
that's the
we saw
positive.
that
Yes,
the passion was there. So to me, when I saw that, I go, okay, we're doing something bigger here. We're building. We're only building. Look, let's not get it messed up. We only just started this whole thing, what, 5, 6 years? We have a
Mhm.
long way to go, but at least we're heading down the direction where our big players are now choosing to play for a little nation over money. That's a good start. And the fact that, we lost 2 games, but the stadiums were still full, it shows me that even our own people, although we're upset, but we're just happy to be there, and it's a good start for us. Unlike the Samoans, you see them, they're leaving the games, they're swearing at each other, they're brutal, those Samoans. They're,
Oh,
Oh,
Masi,
oh, yeah,
Masi,
well,
we had this conversation on our live last night. Let's get
yeah,
let's
yeah,
get Alfie's take on that,
yeah,
Masi. Give
that's
Alfie
brutal.
the quick rundown of the Tongan way and the Samoan way in regards to sports entertainment and rules, and
yes.
how that reflects what happened in the rugby league games.
Yeah, but before I go there, too, I'm just gonna ask
Okay.
Alfie, well, just on his thoughts on, what are your thoughts with the booing of the haka
Oh
from the
yeah.
Samoans when they play? They've done it twice, so obviously it's a thing that the Ha'amoa relatives like to do, right? I have no issues with it, but before we move on, what are your thoughts on that, Alfie?
Who cares? Let them boo.
Yeah,
Let them boo.
that's what
In my,
Uh,
my understanding of the haka and all that is you're going to war.
yeah. Yeah.
So if you're going to war, why do we have to stand here and applaud you? Let's boo you. Who cares?
yeah,
You got
yeah,
it's like the thing about boxing when they say, "Oh, it's rude to boo the boxer when he's walking out to the ring." Who cares? Let him boo. You're supposed to boo. You're not there to make friends. You're there to fight for 80 minutes, and at the end of it, you can shake hands. But during that 80 minutes and leading up to that, we're enemies. So don't be
yeah.
soft. Who cares? Let him boo. 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 I even said boo us Tongans. I told him to come and boo the
Yeah.
Tongans.
Hey, and I was telling, and this is the discussion we have. I'm more of the Ha'amoa way. Like when there's Hakka, I'm gonna boo, right? Tongans do it
Yeah.
differently. That's
Who
fine with
cares?
them. I'm
Who
more of a
cares?
Ha'amoa style. I like to say boo because when I get hear a ref say a bad call to my team, I boo the ref. Like it's part of sports. It's part of entertainment. Let it
But
let it
the
happen.
funny thing is, why is it only a big issue because Samoa booed? Because when New Zealand play England, they're singing songs during the haka. No,
Mm,
nobody talks about that. That's a form of booing. That's a
mm,
Yes.
form of like we're gonna drown you out with our singing. I
correct.
don't see the difference between the what do they swing low, swing whatever song they sing.
We carry it. Yeah.
They're blasting that out while the haka's going on. I don't see the difference in that. That's what you're supposed to do as the other team. We're here to fight. There is no friends. Nobody cares about your dumb little haka. We're here to beat you and your haka.
So you're saying,
We're here
Alfie,
to eat your
Alfie,
haka.
you're saying the Maoris are too sensitive because a lot of the things happening is the Maoris are saying that the Samoans should not be
Anybody
booing and
that
stuff. So
anybody who believes that booing is disrespectful, you're soft. Go home.
Ah,
Go
Maria,
home.
Maria.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So what are your thoughts? Anything to add on that one? It
no,
was just
to me, I'm either way, right?
mm,
To me, and just kind of my personal philosophy in life, there's never a solution. There's only trade-offs. And as long as
Yeah.
you're okay with the trade-off, right? Booing, nothing wrong with booing, but the return of the booing is people are going to boo you. They're going to throw stuff at you. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. If your
Yeah.
approach is I want to be respectful and or whatever you want to call it, I want to enjoy the game and whatever, and you might be booed anyway, but you're good with that. It's
Yeah.
whatever you want to do. You just have to be willing to accept whatever the consequence is. What I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of is you boo, and then when someone boos back at you, you cry foul. That's when
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? You need to shut up and go sit down. That's
Go
that's
home
the
and
only time. That's the only time it's an issue for me. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I just think it's funny that, like you said, Alfie. I think we mentioned it in our live last night. What's the deal when the haka is? I tried to look up the and by the way, if there's anything you want to look up online, we can pull it up just so you know. But I tried to look up the words translation for the Kiwis haka because I wanted to read it in English on our live because I'm pretty sure it's like I'm gonna stab you, I'm gonna kick you, whatever it is, and then we're gonna cry about booing. Really?
yeah.
You're telling your opponent I'm gonna
You're gonna kill
thrash
him.
you and whatever, and then you're gonna cry about booing. And I was like, yeah, to me, see, so for me, it's about does it make sense? Like you say, you're gonna kill someone and then you're gonna cry foul when they boo at you. That doesn't make sense to me.
I'm
You
different.
know,
I don't care if the haka was singing about love and they want to be friends. I'll still boo you.
boo it.
You do the haka. I don't care if it's a peaceful, loving haka. We got a game afterwards. We're getting booed. You're getting booed.
Yeah,
But I'll
you're
say
gonna
this.
get it.
I'll say this. I wouldn't agree to after the game and they're doing like a ceremonial haka with the fans and you know how sometimes they do a haka with their family members
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
because it's their first game or whatever it is, their last game. They always do a special haka for these players.
yeah.
If they boo that haka, that's different.
mm.
That's different because now the battle's over. The battle's
Yeah,
now
this
we
is
can.
not sportsmanship
This
anymore.
is respect now. But before the game, who cares, brother? You can come with your lovey-dovey haka. We're gonna boo you anyway.
Mm, that's fair.
All right, this one I think I saw you do a response to the doctor Hopwate
Yeah.
uh, about union versus league. Give Masi your analysis. If there was a game between union and league, half of it is in union, the other half is in league.
Mm,
Who do you think would
Boy,
win? Go ahead, Alfie.
union will be charged with murder.
mm,
That's what it will be.
Interesting.
The
Interesting.
league is will get absolutely. It will be like MMA versus boxing, and they're coming into MMA. We will choke you out and rip your limbs off.
Interesting. And
There's no other
reasons
way around
why?
it.
Reasons
There's
why?
no
Because I
other.
don't agree, but reasons. I'd love to hear your reasons why.
Well, let's start with the scrum. How are you
Hmm.
going to pack us? How are the props in league going to pack a scrum against these guys who are trained to attack your neck in the scrum and make you pass out?
Hmm.
This so in union, you guys know what a tight head is?
Yeah, I've played rugby almost my entire life,
Okay,
so
so tight head is the toughest prop
yeah,
position
it's have props on both sides of your head.
so you got a hooker and another prop attacking your neck.
Yeah.
You put a rugby league prop in there, and you have these professional rugby union players who've been training the scrum since they were a little toddler, a little Shrek looking thing walking around, no neck, just built like this. They would snap that league's guy's neck off,
Mm.
and it wouldn't be competitive. It might be competitive in the league game. They can put, let's say hypothetically, they put 40 points on us. The next half of union game will not be. There's no competition. They can't scrum. They can't maul. You can't line out. We don't need to run the ball because we'll just throw it on the ground. All right, let's pack another scrum. Oh, you ran out of players. They're all injured. Oh, what happened? Rucks. You can't compete in the ruck. You can't compete in driving mauls. You can't compete in liners. You can't compete anyway. We can come in because here's what I said to some of the leagues because they're like, "Oh, your props are fat and heavy and they can't run." I said, "But we won't play our props. We'll put centers in there. We'll put sixes and sevens in the prop position in the league game because there's no law that says we have to play a
Yeah.
prop. In union, you have to play a prop in prop because you have to be able to scrum.
Yeah, you have to have the skill sets just because of the
Yeah,
danger. Yeah.
and technically in league you do a scrum, so you have to
Yeah.
play your props in our version. Where in your version we can just play a bunch of backs and six and sevens and eights, and we'll be able to compete with you guys. And the moment you step into our arena, it's game over. You're getting strangled.
mm,
Okay. Masi,
yeah.
where do you stand? I don't know where you stand on the
I guess I'm still neutral. I don't know. I don't know.
Or
uh-oh.
argue,
Haven't played
argue,
either game.
argue the scrum, the more, the lineouts. Tell me how leagues are going to be able to compete there.
Yes. So this is my official because I've played both, right? Growing up in Tonga, played rugby and league. I have a greater affiliation for league personally,
Yeah,
right? And this is to me the reason why league probably has a better chance is union has too many ways to delay the game. There's too many ways to delay the game and stall. That to me, the only way the rugby league guys would win is you have to use the rules of rugby union against the game and kill the game. And I'll give you some examples. Just like the scrum. The reason why rugby league doesn't do the scrum anymore is because it ate too much time, right? It when you're resetting and you're having issues, there are guys who are professionals at delaying. Whenever you want to eat time, there's guys who are delay the scrum, figure out ways to push the referee to the edge of delaying the game, but without getting a penalty. And then the other one is just let's say the goal of rugby league is we don't want to score in the rugby union. We're just going to pick and jam. That's all we're going to do. We don't care about scoring. We don't care about going down the field. All we care about is pick and jam anywhere on
But
the field, and we'll
but
just speed
even
up the
pick
time.
but even pick and jam, they won't be able to compete. How are you going to compete in pick and jam? They don't know how to pick and jam. They'll run out one out runners. They don't know how to clean out. They don't know how to roll. They don't know how to get somebody on the ball.
Yeah, I would challenge that a little bit, just because the rules in rugby union, or at least from what I observe, the benefit of the doubt always goes, like, I'm always critical when I watch rugby union. I love rugby union for a lot of things, but the rugby union, the way the referees interpret the game, the offensive ruckers are given a lot more leeway than the defensive ruckers. Very rarely does the referee penalize an offensive rucker for coming from the side, or not holding their weight underneath them. And all it is they would have to practice pick and jam, which is, it's not, I wouldn't say that's a very sophisticated move. If you pick and jam and you have two guys already on you, and you're not even looking to make ground, you're just looking to make contact. Once those ruckers put their hands on the to stand there, I guess the counter ruck would be the risk. They would have to figure out how to relative move the ball out of the ruck quicker. But I think there's just too many ways to delay the game, right?
I
Like lineouts.
I
You could
I
have a line
understand.
out.
I understand what you're saying, but it's like you're the boxer coming to MMA and telling us, well, all I have to do is hold you off from taking my neck and strangling me. All I have to do is grab your arm. But when you quickly find out in MMA and boxing, it's not the same thing.
No,
When a,
that's
when a,
fair.
jiu-
That's
when
fair.
a jiu-jitsu guy grabs your leg, oh, it's easy. All I have to do is get you off my leg. But then you quickly find out it's not easy. These guys are super strong. In a ruck, because remember, we're talking about a hypothetical where the game is just they're playing it. There's no time to train. It's a hybrid game. We're going tomorrow. We're going to put the best leagueies versus best union players. So there's no time to train. There's no time to, okay, guys, what are we going to do here? Well,
Hmm.
because when we come into the league version, there's not much to know. Get back 10 meters and move up. Tackle. Get back 10 meters, move up. In league, there's so many different ways of where you're going to lose the game. Yes, in your head, it might be like, we'll just do this and we'll just have to buy some time, and it's not that easy. Because what if you run and we hold you up? What are you going to do then? We'll hold you up, and
Hmm.
then we force a scrum. Now you're getting battered, you're getting smashed in the scrum. What if you go to the ground and we just flood the ruck? We just come blowing over. Leaguers don't know how to stand and block the ball in the ruck. We'll blow over them in the ruck. What if they just pass the ball around? Okay, what if we tackle you and take the ball off you?
Yeah,
Does
I
that make
guess.
sense?
No, I agree. I guess the scrum I agree with on the technical skill sets. I don't think it's as much of a technical skill set in the ruck. To,
Oh,
to,
it
to me
is. It
personally,
is. It
I, I,
is.
I
In preseason, we spend a lot of time on the rucks and set piece because that's where you lose the ball because every play ends in a ruck. Every ball
mhm,
carry ends in a ruck. So ruck in union is very important. It's not. If you go look up, if you ever want to go look up preseason training sessions, all you would see is them playing the ruck. All you would see is 2 versus 1 drills where one run, one tackles. They got to get up and contest the ruck. That's all we practice in
mhm.
preseason. You got to win the
Okay.
rucks. You got
I,
to
I,
win
I
the.
guess. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I haven't played at the level you've played at, and just from my life experience, yes, there's a lot of technical, and I played prop towards the end of my career. I started off in the centers. I played inside center towards the end of my career because of my joy for food. I finished in as a prop, and so there's to me, I think rugby union has too many ways to delay the game, in my opinion. In my opinion.
I don't know where you got this delay the game from because not once we ever played a game. Not once I ever played a game. The coach was telling us to delay the game. If anything, we want the game. We want flowing rugby. We want because
No,
that's how you beat
understood.
teams.
But this
That's
is
how
this
you.
is this is not about scoring. That's why I said it. The only way the rugby league guys will have to win, it is has nothing to do with scoring. It's all about delaying the game. And to me, rugby
Eat clock.
union has too many ways to delay the game. Like the line out. Have you seen? You could milk the line out for 2-3 minutes, almost every line out. When you get a
No, you
penalty,
can't.
you could
There's
milk.
a
Oh
timer.
yeah,
There's a timer. There's a timer. You got a minute. So when you kick, you have a minute to get the ball in.
okay. See, I wasn't aware
Yeah.
of that. So yeah. So
You can't just hold the ball in the ruck too. So when the ball is in the ruck, you have to get the ball out. And the ref, if you watch it, the ref is like, get the ball out,
is
get the
that
ball
is
out.
that a European rule? Because I've never seen
International.
international where how come they don't show the ticker then? How come I don't see? I
No,
see
because the
they add
ref,
it for kicking the ball, but they
no,
don't
no,
have.
no, the ref controls the speed of the game. So if you listen to the ref is saying, get the ball out, get the ball out, they get penalized. There's a great example. I don't know if you ever see this. There was the Wallabies versus New Zealand. Wallabies was winning with about a minute to go, and they had a penalty, and they had the ball. They were trying to delay it as long as possible, and the ref ended up penalizing them after about 30 seconds. Because you hear the ref said, play the ball, kick now, scrum. And they ended up losing, and it was a big call. It was a big dilemma. The Wallabies were upset about it.
Yeah,
But the
because
ref was
okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
not because when the ball is live, you can't delay the game. So there's no way if you ever watch a unique, there's no if it was no timer on the ruck, then then team would just hold the ball in the ruck for eternity. But once the ball is cleared, so when you do a long placement and they come and cleared and the ruck is formed, you got to get the ball out. You can't just hold the ball in there.
Yeah.
It's the
No, I
same for
guess, but
everything else.
I'm not aware of an official rule. That to me, that sounds to me those are all at the discretion of the referee.
I mean, you said you can Google it now. You can Google it now.
Yeah.
But I'm
Let's
just
look
saying
that
this
up.
on top. I don't know the exact rule to it, but I know for a fact as when I played rugby, you got to get the ball out. You can't just hold the ball and delay the game.
No, I agree 100%. And what I'm kind of getting to is
And the
there's a
ref
lot more
controls that.
discretion. There's a lot more discretion with the referee to be like, hey, you got to speed it up. You got to get the ball out. Some referees will let you hold it in longer, but I don't think there's
All right,
let's see.
say for the sake of this hypothetical, let's eliminate that. Say there's no delaying of time. Okay, say that the league is they don't have this issue now. You can't delay the game. How are they going to win now?
The what? Sorry, I was typing.
You know how you said that the only chance leaguers can win if they can somehow delay the game.
Yeah,
is
that's
that
their only chance. The
all
only
right?
chance is to limit the rugby union guys from scoring points.
All right. Say we eliminate the delaying of the game. There's no more. You can't delay the game in this hypothetical. It's just a free
Then I
flowing.
think it's a very difficult. It'll be very difficult for
For
rugby
leagues.
league guys to score in a rugby union game.
So the
It's
league
very
is
difficult
the
because
league is yeah. So the league is would want to delay the game now because
correct,
they
correct.
need time to think. All right.
Yeah,
Let's say they're allowed to delay the game. They can play like NFL. They're allowed shot clocks and they can call timeouts. They still won't win if they can delay the game. Every
some
scenario you can think of, it would never
mhm,
work.
okay.
It just would never work because, again, if you know MMA and boxing, it would be the same because I was that guy. It can't be that hard to defend a rear naked choke. Like it's just
Well,
a dude on
I
you.
actually see it the other way around. I see the rugby league guys more of the MMA position because you can just ground and pound. I see the weaknesses in rugby union's rules and the ways to delay the game. The same thing as a MMA guy who he's gonna take you down. He's not gonna cause you a lot of damage. Let's say it's not a lot of damage. He's just gonna hammer fist you. He's gonna do just enough to prevent the referee from getting you to stand up,
Mm.
right? And then just delay the game. And but he gets the points for taking you down, and he might get a little point for riding time on top, but he's not going to score heavy points. That's the way I see it. But I
But
think we kind of beat this one. But
yeah,
anything else you want to add to that, Alfie, before we go to the next one?
all good. Union wins.
Eee!
Good points. I
Ah,
mean,
go
good
ahead,
points
Masi.
that
What's your
Alfie brought up.
analysis while I pull up? Let's see what the next topic might be.
Alfie brought up some good points. You know, if it was gonna happen, because we've always kind of talked the pros and cons, but the details Alfie's providing is some good points, and it'll be very interesting, very very interesting. I'm
Mhm.
I'm more of the I'm just not a fan of how rugby is run and managed. More of like the
Mm.
red card. I'm not a fan of the red cards because when somebody has a red card, I'm kind of done watching. Kind of want watching and the whole yellow card. I'm more of a fan. If somebody gets a red card, switch them out. Get somebody else in. It's such a huge advantage, especially with big games. I go
Well,
back to the
it's a huge
yeah.
disadvantage if you lose a player, though. So you should be. I agree with the red card because say you're one of the best players in your team, and I head high you, and now you leave the game. Now your team gets to miss out on you. The only fair punishment is for that is the same guy that hurt you should go off too. You shouldn't be able to
Mm,
keep playing. That's the way
mm,
I see it. An eye for an eye.
Mm.
You cause us harm and you take out one of our players, we should be able to take out one of your players for the rest of the game.
yeah,
No, I think
yeah,
I think the idea here, Alfie, is not. Yeah, you can take that guy out, but replace him with someone else.
off the bench or
Because
something.
the concept here is, who's the ultimate loser is
Mm.
the fan. The fan
Yeah,
is the
I
ultimate loser.
agree. I agree with that, but we can't give people incentives where you can head high somebody and still get an interchange. Because then it's like, oh, it's all right. Because then now players are mindful of hurting other players because the consequences is you're going to be out for the rest of the game. Your team's going to miss out. You're going to be down to one less player. You're going to get fined. You're going to be suspended. So there's stuff there for you to go, okay, maybe I shouldn't just rush out and put a shot on because, we're losing and
Mm.
I hate that guy. I should just dog shot him and we're going to get somebody else to replace me anyway. So I think red card is good, so people don't just go out and be reckless, and then the team that committed that offense gets rewarded with just another interchange.
Yeah, that's a one point. The way I kind of see it is the fan loses out because you're right. They're like, once the All Blacks got that red card in the final of the
Yeah,
World Cup,
Yeah,
for all intents and
that's game.
purposes, that World Cup was over, right?
yeah,
And so what
but the
happens is,
fans, should go blame them. Don't blame the game. Blame their team.
yeah. Well, see, but this is the thing. This is where there's other things. I think it puts a little too much power into the ref's hand because now you can really say, how you can how you can contaminate sample A, have the
Yeah,
ref find an excuse to give a red card. You see, like, to
yeah,
me, I'm like, it gives too much power and too much of a swing that when you look at it, I mentioned earlier, there's never a solution. There's only pros
mm,
and cons. You're happy with that exchange, right? Your
yeah,
pro is, well, the guy gets removed and the team suffers. I'm me as a sports fan, I don't like that. I don't
yeah,
look like that, and I say, hey, you know what? You hurt me. You hurt the fans, and actually it hurts everyone
yeah.
because this is one of my. Oh, here's another interesting one. I'll finish this, but there's another question. Unless Masi has something more to add to this, but to me, when you look at it as a business decision, it's not the best business decision. The red card actually hurts the business, and for me, that's the way I see it. Because at the end of the day, the fan is the one who suffers the most, and the fan is the one who's pouring the money into the game, and it hurts the rest of the team as well because less money
It,
means
it
less opportunity.
I disagree because the only people that's being hurt by this red card is the fans of the team. The rest of the other country would be celebrating, so their fans are happy. So this is a give
Mm.
give. You can't have a game and then cater to the fans just because they might miss out on a great game. How about we do this? We stick to the rules, and the rules are set before the game, so everybody knows not to do head highs or commit offenses that's going to give a red card. Yes, I agree. The refs they can cheat and give red cards, but it's very hard considering we all see the clip. A lot of the time, the decisions where we go, it's 50-50 with the red card. Some would argue it's a red card, some wouldn't. And a lot of the time, those people are arguing that are the fans. If I'm in the team that committed the offense, I'll be arguing like, oh, come on, man, that's soft. That's not a red card. The other team would be the complete opposite. They'll be like,
Hmm.
that's definitely a red card offense. But we can't give incentives and we can't allow people just to run out there and do whatever they want and then the team gets awarded for it. We have rules. The rules are set there to protect everybody from the game. And if we just allow people to just go then dog shot, so what's stopping five other players from just going then completely just head
Yeah.
highing somebody and then they can still replace their players?
Mm.
wouldn't do the game anything. It
Yeah,
wouldn't.
I think the benefit we have is we don't have to have this as hypothetical, like the game between rugby league and rugby union.
Yeah,
We have the most successful sports competition, domestic competition in the world,
yeah,
and you don't play a man down. When
Mm.
you get
yeah,
ejected, you bring in someone else in the NFL. There is no you
mm,
play a man down. It is
yeah,
whoever cause. If you do a targeting, you're ejected from
And
the
you're
game
replaced.
and you get replaced. So to me, when we look at the most successful, from our opinion, the most successful domestic competition in the world in contact sports, they seem to show that that model is feasible. And I agree with what you said. The rules are set up ahead of time, but you know what the beauty of the rules are? We can always change the rules.
yeah.
We just have to agree before
But the
time.
end,
But
but the
yeah.
I agree with you, but the NFL is a completely different game. It's not a flowing game. It's a very stop-start game. So your
Mhm.
game is very one-on-one. It's not a sport where it's free throwing and you can throw the ball around and there's rocks and stuff. Your game is very stop-start. It's man on man, and you got to beat the other guy. So if we have one less player, it doesn't work for your model of the game, because your model of the game has to be somebody in front of you to compete with you. If we send one off and they're ejected and they never come back on, now the game is unfair. So I agree with that model for that game.
Mhm.
But for this game, it wouldn't work. For our game, it works because the game is free flowing. You can still be one man down and still have a lot of people defending. Does that make sense? You
No,
can
I
still
agree.
lose
Yeah.
the
There's zone defenses in football that you take into account whenever you have a mismatch where you think we don't have a good thing. But to me, I
Yeah,
think we
but I'm saying
shifted.
I'm saying initially when you start on the front line, you're all in front of one another, man on man on.
Not always, because you can have three down linemen against five offensive
Offensive
linemen,
line.
right? So there's ways to move around that. There's ways to move around that. But I think I was trying to address your position that, oh, everybody's going to go and just target the player. Well, we can see in the NFL that that's not the case. And actually, the targeting would be more impactful in the NFL because they're getting paid more, and the quarterback is a million times more impactful than any single position in rugby union or rugby league. That if the if the concept was just hurt the quarterback and then we win the game, we would see that in the NFL all the time, but it doesn't
But
it
why
doesn't
don't they?
happen.
Why don't they just hurt? I've seen that they always pull out when before they hit the quarterback.
Yeah, because you can find the players.
You don't get because well, how does rugby get paid? Because usually, if somebody does a headshot, you usually don't get paid for that game. Just like the NFL, people try to avoid
No, we get
targeting because is
yeah,
it
no,
salary? Because you get paid per game.
you get paid a salary and per game.
Okay,
Okay. Is there a
okay.
Yeah.
penalty for getting a red card as a player? If you get a red
Yeah,
card,
you get you get you
you
get
get a fine?
suspended and you get a suspended and you get a fine. So I would say
Mm.
the only red card you guys have in your game is not hitting that quarterback. Because I've seen players they run and the moment that quarterback releases the ball and it's still in his fingertips, they just pull out. They know not to hit that quarterback because they don't want to get fined.
Mm. No, there's targeting, like
But yeah,
receivers, helpless.
mind you, I don't
There's
watch. I
other
don't.
areas. Yeah.
I don't watch
But the point is, hey,
NFL
this is
at
great
all.
discussion. I love
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Any
I don't.
words, Masi, before we go to the next topic? Because this is good stuff.
Well, no, the only thing is American football, the NFL, most people know now it's stop and go, but the NFL, the football concept was just like rugby. It was very free flowing. There was no
What do you
stoppage.
guys? Why do you guys call yourself world champions in NFL when you the only people who play against each other?
We make the most money. That's why. So anyone who
Yeah,
wants to play in the NFL, anyone who
but
wants,
you guys.
let's just say like Jordan Mailata, when he knows he's gonna make more money than all of the NRL three clubs, that's why all the champ. It's the same with the NBA. We say the world champs because we know we got all the best athletes in the world. We're the world champs.
Yeah.
NFL,
Well,
anyone
yeah.
you come, no one's
I
gonna
feel
like
like
I said, no one's gonna
I feel
compete with our
like
money. No one's gonna compete with our fame and being able to promote your like NFL is the top. The reason why the most successful franchise is the Dallas Cowboys because they can buy
you guys
anybody
also
who
have
wants to.
300 and
Yeah,
something million people in your country.
yeah.
True,
Well,
true. But that
Two,
would
two
with
hundred
that
million.
logic, then China and India should have the most valuable
Yeah, but
franchises.
they're retarded. They're fragile.
Hey, this guy is merciless. He doesn't even like try to soften the blow. straight to the point.
Hey, you guys have 300 people in your country, and 300 of them are Mexican over the wall. No, I'm joking.
Well, now that you brought that up, kind of give us
Mm,
more information, Alfie, on the problem of immigration in Australia and why is that something that's important to you? And what do you think our community are missing about that topic?
mm,
Well, right now, the issue with our immigration, look, it's a very loaded question because there's a lot of things, again, with this, the immigration things, because although I can agree to an extent to letting these immigrants for opportunity and that, but we have to look at is the way the country's going. Inflation has gone up, our cost of living has gone up, insurance has gone up, cost of food has gone up, petrol has
mm,
gone up. Do you know why it hasn't gone up? People's wages. People's
Yeah,
wages stay the same, but
America is
everything
going through
else
the same thing. Yep.
and everything around us is going up. And why is this? It's because there's more people living in the country, and I was so I don't know how the system works for you guys, but our MP, he's like the how would you
The
call it? Not the
representative for you
mayor.
guys.
Yeah, not the mayor of a state, but something along that line. I spoke to him because I was working for a radio station. I met him, and he was talking to me about how, in just in the span of 2 months, 300,000 people just rocked up to their city, but they don't have the infrastructure for that. They don't have
Yeah.
enough school spots for that. They don't have a hospital for that, housing. So, because there's 300,000 people now in his area, now that the price of houses and rent is going up because it's in high demand. So this is the
Hmm.
issue with immigration with us. Yes, we love immigrants. Yes, we love to give people opportunity, but we also got to look at the product that we have now. It's not feasible for the people living in it.
mm,
So we're all struggling. We're just all making it to barely make ends meet.
mm.
And the way the government's handling it is like just let more people in. It'll fix itself. But again, I don't know the other side because I've never dived deep into it. But I'm only giving you my life experiences and what I see around what's happening in my life. And what I see is everything is going up except my paycheck. But then I'm a bit different, but I see it with my family members and friends.
Mm.
Masi, what are your
Because
thoughts?
the
I'm
argument
looking
I
up
get
a
all
video.
the argument I
Go,
get
go
all
for
the
it.
time is you're an immigrant. Your parents were
Mm.
immigrants. I was like, yeah, it's a different time back then.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, and that's interesting part. Immigration's interesting
It's
topic
a
to discuss.
worldwide thing now.
Yeah, yeah, because I always apply it to I'm a proud Tongan. I'm very involved with the things and family affairs that happen in Tonga, and there's a reason why we are restricted and we're careful of letting people in Tonga. I mean, people always say, they did the census 2 years ago. It's only 5% Chinese, but it looks like there's bigger because they're very business
Yeah,
going people. So it feels like it's more than, but it's only 5% of the Tongan population. The rest
yeah,
is Tongan,
yeah.
and I'm a big fan of history, and a lot of the issues that were happening, especially with Hawaii, with losing their sovereignty here in New Zealand, losing their sovereignty. A lot of it was immigration,
Mm,
unregulated, letting people come. Because what happened? You let a big group of people in from the UK or Great Britain come and settle new land. There was no filter, there was no vetting,
no
because
screening. Yeah.
no screening. You let them come because it's the same problem we have today. You get cheap labor, you get people who are willing to trade with you. You're getting people like it's happening. And then once the new immigration people are coming in, they're saying and recognizing, okay, we are making a good portion of the population. We want to go do things a different way. We want to
Mm,
add more tax, like immigration. That's how I think about it. Same thing in Hawaii. They let a bunch of people who are not Hawaiians and they come and settle, and then once they get into government, and then they make the new laws. So to me, now that it's Australia, we're all mixed and stuff, and now that we know that if you allow a lot of mass immigration fast, your neighborhood changes, your wages tend to, right? Your wages don't grow because you got immigrants who are willing to work in worse conditions and even cheaper than you, and then they're
100%.
also competing against your kids for future properties in the future,
Yeah.
right? So to me, we got to be very careful. I mean, I'm a fan of gradually implementing people, but they've got to come through the right process. If they've been overstayers, to me, I'm not telling you, I know somebody. If you've been overstaying, you take that risk. And I'm not gonna go and report you or anything, but I'm just saying you
Yeah,
get caught, then you get deported. You know, you kind of lose your opportunity there, and you can try after what they put you like 3 or 5 year probation. It's just
man,
the rules today. And you know, another example is I think Tua, you and I discussed this in London, the immigration process. London, the most property and real estate that is owned in London are Indians, not even Englishmen. That's how
yeah.
crazy it is.
The
That's how
same as
crazy.
here.
No, and that yeah, that's when you have that's because you're having. I think it's it's the government officials who are doing this because the sake of getting cheap workers to come in, but there's a
Yeah.
trickle effect that's changing the culture and even your social environment within that country. So that's just me where I kind of come with that. Dua, I don't know if you had anything else.
Well,
Yeah,
it's not a surprise that the people running our country is the people from the left. They're the Labour
yeah,
Party. So they're the woke people. They're the ones running our country. And I've seen with your country, the in America especially, the Democrats when they run a country or a state, they run it to the ground.
absolutely.
And I'm a big advocate for not because of what Trump because when you bring up Trump, people go, "Well, he's a racist and he's a woman abuser," and he was. It's like, okay, well, show us. Anyway, I don't want to even get into that, but I love Trump,
Mm,
and I always say to
mm.
people here because I know he triggers them, and I like it. I'm like, man, I wish we had a Trump in Australia.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
wish we
surprised. I'm
had a
not
Trump.
surprised, Alfie. Trump seems
But
to be your kind of guy.
well, look, the kind of guy that we want in Australia, business-minded people to run the country, and right now the Labor, which is the left in Australia, is running the country. So they're all about the immigrants and the little people, but they forget that the people who create jobs are the entrepreneurs and the business owners. We're the people who are giving people jobs, but they make it so difficult for us to run a business because they just come
Mm,
in with taxes on taxes on taxes, and it's just impossible to even start a business because you're just going to be crippled for 10 years before you can even
Hmm.
yeah.
show a bit of wealth for your hard work. But that's
Mm,
also part of the grind and the part that I love. I love fighting against the government. I love and hate them. Because I just picture them in my head. All the hard work I'm doing, and they're just doing this to me. Money, money.
yeah.
Give me
Taxes. Keep
tax.
more
Give
and
me
give
No,
tax
maybe
they're
more
more.
not
next
even
year.
going like this. What they're doing is
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
money. It would have been
Slapping
nice
you,
if they went
pushing
like
you.
this. This
Eh,
would have been nice. It's like, please, no, they're like smacking you while they're taking your money. Yeah,
and
to
and and
me,
and
go
sorry,
ahead.
and people wonder why business owners sometimes cook their books. It's a
Hmm.
phrase here. I don't know if you have
mm,
the same phrase where we cook.
Hmm.
People cook their books just so they can make a bit of money, so they can pay for stuff. Because they
mm,
they literally make it difficult for you to earn money. They've
Yeah,
mm.
got so now we got to buy a car and write it off on this and write it off on that, only just to just to make it.
yeah,
Anyway,
I
yeah. I
was
mean,
surprised. I was surprised. I was gonna say to sorry to interrupt. I was
no,
gonna
no,
say
go ahead.
I was in Australia not too long ago. I was surprised with the amount of tolls just to use the freeway. It's another way of taxing. That's crazy. You know, you're
all
not
these
getting taxed your
roads,
income tax.
all these roads were free at one
Yeah.
at one point. And some Chinese billionaires decided to buy the road somehow, and now we have to pay to go on the same road that we've been traveling on for years on end. And
Mm,
they advertise it as the faster route. It's not. But now we're
mm,
just paying
to use the
$25
road.
just to drive down to the city and $25 to get back. Or you take the longer route, which you're gonna add another 40 minutes to your trip.
You're spending
So
Yeah.
$25 worth of gas at that point.
yeah,
Gee.
it's
Mm.
so
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always doubtful when people say I'm for the little guy, right?
yeah,
Like all these, they're like, no, they're not. You're for the little guy as long as the little guy does what you say,
yeah,
right?
And
Like,
you
and America is the example of that. Look at the African American vote. Look at how quickly the left has scrambled away from them because they are not a big enough voting bloc. They're now
mm,
bringing in the people across the border. That's what it's all about.
yeah,
It's replacing voters, and now we're finding out now states like California. You know
yeah.
why they wanted illegal immigrants a lot over there, even though it was bankrupting them, is because they would lose their representatives in the House of Representatives because the population would have dropped so
Yeah.
much, because the Americans voted with their feet and went to states like Texas, right, where there's more freedom, less taxes, more opportunity. So they were bringing
Yeah.
in the illegals and counting them in the census so that they could have more influence in the federal government. So just
Mm.
because someone says they're for the little guy, don't believe them.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
It's
believe
well,
them for one
it's
second.
it's
yeah.
it's just a big game for these. You know how they always talk about Illuminatis,
Yeah.
and it's really just a big game for them. They must just sit back and just like, all right, let's try this, let's implement this, let's see how COVID and all those things. Yes, I may be putting on a tinfoil hat on right now, but there's a lot of conspiracies out there, and a lot of them sometimes is true. You know, these,
Yeah.
especially the ones about people controlling the world. Yeah. I remember I saw a video, I think it was Andrew Tate. He said, if you had a basketball game of 10 people playing against each other and there's no referee, do you think people would cheat to win $1 million in that game? And the answer is yeah, they probably would cheat. And he goes, well, why do you think, do you think governments won't cheat to win an election? Do you
Yeah.
think governments won't cheat to
Mm,
control a country?
mm,
And it's truly sad to have a lot of people, and especially during COVID, a lot of people around me and my friends, it was sad to see that they can easily be manipulated with just
mm,
whatever they hear and see. And
mm,
but some of those stuff I can't erase from my head with certain people.
Mm.
mm,
Because when the going gets tough and they came in, they were banning this and banning that, you couldn't do this. And then they're standing up and saying, yeah, yeah. I sit back and I go, wow, you're that easily manipulated? That one party or one side comes and tells you one thing, and instead of using critical thinking and go, all right, let's see what the other side says, you just go, yeah, yeah, but you should get an injection, you should do. And it blows my mind. And that's how I
mm,
look
Oh,
at people now. I look at people and I judge them on their opinions on certain topics, and then I can easily just be like, all right, well, you're just a flop.
yeah.
You've got no backbone, because you just got to look into their life and what they stand for. And if you know what they stand for, you can easily eliminate these people's mindsets and go, all right, I'm not going to talk to you. You're
I've
just
seen that
a
movie before, right? When you see them, it's like, oh, I've seen that movie before.
yeah,
mm,
yeah.
mm,
I seen you
mm.
guys marching up and down for all these Black Lives Matter and everything else. And anyway, yeah,
Masi, anything else?
No, I mean, I was just gonna say it's when we always talk about the little man, we sometimes governments always think they want you to be the little man, but to get into social welfare, and that's the issue, right? They
Mm.
want you to social welfare because that's the good way to control you. But a lot of the times, a little man just wants you to just clear the path, maybe allow us to keep more of our money, and then we can get ourselves out. But it's always politician having. It's the same thing. It's that control and having you
it is.
helping the part
Yeah,
of part of helping the little man, and that's the thing. Their interpretation of helping the little man is to tax more of the working people and put into social welfare to help the vulnerable. They always say
mm,
the vulnerable community, and that's a lot. That's the thing we've got to change. When they say the little man, you got to ask them, how are you going to help the little man? Is it just by inflating the social welfare checks for everybody and hurting the working class, or
Hmm.
yeah.
it's either just tax less and let the little man provide them some jobs and some at least be competitive in a working market so they can help themselves. But it's
Just
never
get out
that.
of the
Government
way.
government has always proven throughout history that they want control and
Of
power,
course.
and they want you to, and the only way to do that, it's either, see, right now it's been the media, the mainstream media that's been happening, which people are kind of looking for alternatives. But before, it's always been getting them to social welfare. And I'm not saying
But
social welfare
people,
is, yeah, well, I was gonna say social welfare should be a very limited time, but when you get, certain families and stuff that's been there for a long time, then it becomes a generational thing, and that's what governments tend to like. We're
and
like,
the one thing that
yeah,
annoys me about people who are so stupid, when you say, like for me, for example, when I see somebody who's lazy, I call them lazy, and this could be the little man. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying, brother, you can get up and get the same opportunity, but it's
mm,
because you're so dependent on the government. They give you incentives to be lazy, and then they pay you
mm,
in return. So why would you
yep,
go and work? But then people will look at me and goes, oh, you're insensitive, you don't have, you're looking down at the little man. And then I will say to them, like, do you know who's paying these little people? We are.
yeah,
These are the little guys getting paid from our taxes for them to be lazy. So it's not because they're poor or they have no drive that I'm upset at. I'm upset at the fact that they're just sitting there because they know the government every 2 weeks going to come and hand them a check. And all they have to do is turn up and pick it up. And then we have to pay for it. So I really get frustrated with people who think that, oh, leave them alone. Like this, the government are just going to look after him, and we should
No,
help
they're
them.
not.
They're not. The government wants you to be dependent on them so they can control you.
They just want your vote. They just want your vote. They
Yeah,
don't want your
Yep.
thoughts. They don't want your
yeah,
ideas. They don't want your hard work. They just want your vote. And you just got to be
100%.
quiet, you know?
Yeah. Mm.
Quick question here, Alfie. You had sounds like you had a pretty successful rugby career. What's your top 3 lessons learned that you would share for, just anyone who's looking to explore that career, and what you think they need to be successful? Just top 3 lessons learned, maybe.
Look, I may not be answering your question here, but I just want to share this. The biggest thing I learned in rugby was nobody cares, brother. Nobody cares about anything but results.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not the guy for to help us win the game, we don't care. Move on. Get away. Let another guy come do your job. So that's the biggest thing that I took away from rugby is performance based.
Mm-hmm.
If you want something in life and if you want to go somewhere with your life, you got to perform. If you don't be upset at where you are. You'll be exactly where you are because you don't want to put in the work. I would say that's number 1. Number 2, these are going to be very boring answers, generic answers, hard
No,
work,
that's fine.
resilience.
Hey, 3 and 4
Yeah,
is right, whatever.
but I want to touch on this. In preseason in rugby, literally it teaches me everything that I needed to know about life. Because in preseason, you're there to be broken. You're there for them to break you in every possible way, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it is, they're gonna break in preseason. Why? Because after you're broken, you can grow. So for most of you people out there, if you want to truly know what it feels like to do something in your life, go and join a rugby team and do a preseason, and you'll hate your life. You be every morning you'll wake up and go, why am I coming to do this? Why do I need to suffer today? But these are life lessons that you need, because when you go into the real world and then you come into little hiccups and bumps and altercations with people, you know that all the training you've been doing in preseason really just makes you go, bro, it's not that big of a deal. Here's a
Mm-hmm.
solution. Let's do this. Your way's not working. Let's try it this way. No, I don't want to try that way. And you just learn how to deal with people. So, brother, I'm telling you, we've tried try my way. And if it doesn't work, we'll come back to yours. And it teaches you just to be relatable. You know how to adapt to different situations. So go out there, join a team, join a boxing gym, whatever it is. Do something hard in your life so you can know what it's like to be great, or to strive for something better.
Yeah.
Nice.
One of the things that I think is important, just want to see what your guys' thoughts are, is you have to accept that there's always a certain level of luck that is involved, and you have to accept that and be okay with that, right? What I've seen is certain people say, well, I worked really hard and it didn't work out. That happens sometimes, right?
Mm.
And you can see sometimes someone didn't work hard, but they had a lot of talent. That'll get them a little bit further, but you have to be like Randy Moss kind of talented to get away with it. But 99.9% is hard work. But it's like starting a business. You have to be willing to sacrifice everything, knowing the risk that you will get nothing. And
Yeah.
you have to just accept that. You have to embrace it and not get bitter, because I've seen a lot of people, number one, they don't work hard, they get bitter. Other people, they work really hard and it didn't work out with them and they get bitter. And you just have to realize nothing in life is guaranteed, right? You have to be willing to put everything on the line. And sometimes you end up like Elon Musk, and sometimes you end up like the guy just working down the street.
Of course, yes.
Right. And then that's
Yeah.
where I think some people don't understand is, number one, they're not willing to pay the price. And number two, they think just because they paid a price that it's guaranteed to get an outcome.
Mm.
We are in a world, man. You sacrifice a lot, they'll chew you up and spit you out,
They,
whether you
they
want to
don't
look at the
care about your
Bible or your
feelings.
life.
They
Exactly.
don't They don't care. The one thing about business, it's not racist. It doesn't care about your feelings. It's all performance based.
Yeah.
And if you can handle the pressure that comes with it, your chances of making it are significantly better than somebody who just quits.
Yeah.
And what we and me and my business partner have found over the years, people quit easily. They just, it's so easy just to give up. It's like a badge of honor for him. Well, I tried my hardest, it just didn't work out. You know, I took all my equity in my house and I put it into the business and it didn't work. So now I'm just gonna quit. No, buddy, get back in there, go borrow some more money, go do something else, find another way, because there's not just one way to success. There's different ways. There's hiccups. There's this. There's that. But it's the guys who are patient and it's the guys who do the hard work and delayed gratification. Like you don't just plant a tree and start picking the fruits. You plant the
Hmm.
Mm.
tree and you gotta wait for the bloody tree to grow. And sometimes that takes 2 months. Sometimes that takes 5 years. But you gotta be patient. And
Yeah.
like I said from the beginning, God only gives you what you can handle. If God thinks you can handle all this fame and stuff, He'll give it to you. So He's really just looking out for you. And the reason why you're not successful is because God knows you're lazy.
Maria.
That's
Masi,
funny.
any
But
thoughts there? Anything?
don't be upset at us. Be upset at yourself that you're lazy. Because everybody, I have a saying, if you want it, you can have it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
But do you want to work? No, you don't. You don't
mm,
want to grind. You don't
Yeah.
want to remortgage your house 5 times. You don't want to sell your cars off and sell all your stuff that you love just to make it. That's you don't want it that bad. Because if you did, you'll do everything it takes. In all our gyms, me and my business partner have a saying, whatever it takes. We have that literally in all our gyms on the wall. Whatever, because me and him, it's literally whatever it takes. We gotta get it done, bro. If we gotta sell something, let's sell it. But we have the same goal and we have the same drive, and we're not gonna stop till we achieve it. And whether that having to refinance or me having to sell this or that, I'll do whatever it takes with my business partner to get to the common goal, which is to have as many gyms as we can in 10 years. And we're going to sell everything off and then go off to the next chapter in our life. Not to retire like most people think. If I make this much money, I'm going to retire. Brother, I'll never retire. Never.
Yeah.
Because my mind constantly needs to work. Or else I just sit down and I don't feel right. I need to
mm.
just constantly working. So the goal right now, we had a goal for 5 years to do 10 gyms. We're 3 years now. We're going to have seven, hopefully, by the end of the year. So now our goal is
Nice.
going up to
Nice.
25 gyms in 10 years. And if you
Awesome.
told me this 3 years ago, I would have told you, but that's crazy. 10 gyms in 5 years, and we're about to do seven in three. So
You're ahead of schedule. You're
ahead of
ahead of
schedule.
schedule.
But I'm not going to lie and tell you that at the beginning it was like, oh, I don't know, bro. I don't know if we can do this. But the moment when you put on so much hard work,
Mm,
you know you're going to make it. And if you don't, you know you're going to keep trying. So
Yeah.
for us, it's just when people ask me all the time, should I get into business? I said, brother, if you're not ready to struggle, don't do it. If you're not ready, if you're not ready to see
Yeah.
nothing in your bank account for 4 months, don't do it. But if
Yeah.
you're just looking to, you think you're going to put some money into a business and grow and make millions, you're in the wrong business, brother. Over here, we're riding waves. Some months are good, most months are bad. But you got to ride the waves. So if that's what you want to be on, come ride with us. If not, bro, just go get a normal job because this life isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
Because if it was easy, everybody would be a business owner. Everybody would be successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You tell them.
every
Go ahead.
successful person I've ever come across, brother, they've never had a easy, like a good story where, I started and I just made it. It's always, bro, I started. I didn't know for most of the years I didn't know how I was gonna eat. I had to sell my house. I had to beg my wife to get another loan. It's always hardship after hardship after hardship, and then boom, they get that one lucky break. Now they're there.
mm,
They're
Yeah.
there. And then people will just look at the end product and go, "Oh, it must be easy for you. You got lucky." How did I get lucky, bro? I grind 10 years just to get to this spot. And then you're going to come and tell me I'm lucky. No, you're just lazy. You don't want to work. And if I handed you everything I have up to this point, you would flop in 2 days. You want to know what to do.
Absolutely.
You want to know how to run gyms. You want to know how to run a car dealership. You want to know how to do none of that. When people come knocking in the door, emails come flooding your freaking email, what are you going to do? You're going to look for somebody that's been there and done it. And that's where we come in. So just chill out, bro. Go sit down and let us do the work because you're not willing to do it.
Yeah, and just to add to what I shared earlier, you have to get a little lucky. But you know what I
100%.
noticed? The guys who work harder, guess what? They
The luck
seem
They
to
falls
get
on their
be really
side.
lucky.
they get lucky,
That's
bro.
what I noticed. Like it's like you do need luck, right? Because no one controls everything in life. But I do know this: the
You do.
guys who work really hard, they seem to be luckier than the other guys.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, a lot of people they just see the good results, but they don't see the suffering,
The
the
hard
pain,
work.
the sacrifice that it takes to get there. You know, I went to BYU and I played football at BYU in college, and I would hang out in the student center. And sometimes guys would come up to me. It's like, oh man, you're so lucky. I mean, I want to be on the football team. And I was like, no, you don't. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, because I tell them, it's like, no, you don't. I said, number one, you got to realize like this is a full-time job. All
Yeah.
right. I got to finish my classes by, we have weightlifting at 5 in the morning. We got to finish my classes by 12. And then I do my everything from 12 to about 4 is meetings and prep. Then you have practice from like, 4:30 to 6:30. And then after that, I went to rugby practice right after that. And rugby practice goes in from 7 to 9. Then you go back to the gym. And I said, dude, this consumes everything in your life. And if you
100%.
really wanted to be in the football team, you wouldn't be sitting with me here at the student center. You would be in the gym, you'd be running, you'd be training. And so, you have to be very careful. The other thing that came to mind when you were speaking, um, Alfie, is you have to be very careful with what you want because, like you said, it will take everything. It'll take everything. And nothing is more disheartening to get what you want and then what you thought you want and then realize that's
Mm.
not what you wanted, but you gave everything.
Yeah.
So people need to understand. Usually when someone comes to me and says, Tua, do you want to do this? And I usually say, what will it cost me to get there?
Mm.
Right. And if they say everything, I have to be very thoughtful and say, I have to be 100% sure that this is what I want
You
because
got to
the
be
price
committed.
you're asking me, yes, the
Yeah.
price you're asking me requires me that because I believe you can almost achieve anything. If you put enough
100%.
hard work and energy and you get just a little bit of luck, you can achieve anything. So it's a waiting game, but you better be dang sure that that's what you wanted. And I think
Yeah.
that's why people who quote unquote make it, they're unhappy because they realized I got it. And you know what? It doesn't even make me happy. So be
Yeah.
very thoughtful. That's why I consider myself a person of faith because
Yeah.
I'm always using that faith to be like, God, please, if this is not for me,
Don't
rip
give
it
it.
away from me because I am going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. And I don't want to get there just to be disappointed that that's not what I wanted. And I'd rather it never happen for me, kind of like what you
Yeah.
were mentioning earlier.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why with me, I don't look at success as amount of money that I have. I look at success for me is the life that I can build for my family. That's why I will never retire because my brain doesn't look and go, that's where I gotta finish. If I make this much money, I stop there. I'm not working for money. Yes, I'm working to better my life, which is money with my family. But the drive for me is literally for my kids to have something. I know it sounds so cliche. We're working for our kids, but it literally is.
Hmm.
It literally is. When I walk in and see my kids, that's what I do it for. But yeah, you're right because you do hear a lot of these billionaires, they do say that money doesn't make them happy, but that's because at some point they would achieve so much that nothing like money to them is nothing now because they own
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But you're right, you should be careful because like I said, God would only give you what you can handle, and sometimes he might test you and go, all right, here, you're an
Mm,
instant $100 million rich. What are you going to? Oh, you're going to go out and party now.
yeah.
Oh, you're not going to spend time with your family anymore.
Mm,
Oh, you're not what you said you were going to be. And this is where your character needs to come in and where you're grounded. Like you said, you're grounded with your religion and your faith. So for most of us, you need to find those little. For me, it's my kids. For me,
Hmm.
that's what grounds me. When I come home and I knock on the door, even though I can open my own door, and my kids run to me, that's for me. That's where I'm like, okay. Although,
This
like,
is what it's about.
would I love to spend more time with my kids? Oh, bloody
Mm,
oath I do. But I know I've got to make these small sacrifices early on to achieve what we need to achieve, to get to the goal we need to get to in order to move forward in our life. And if it means to sacrifice a little bit now to have long time gains, I'm going to do that. I get home every night about 7:30 at 8. I only spend about an hour of the day with my kids on Monday to Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday is where I completely take off and I spend it with my kids. But for me, that's a sacrifice. Of course, I would love to spend get a 9 to 5 and come home earlier, spend all the hours. But this wouldn't fulfill me as a person, and I don't think my kids will want that either.
mm.
Mm,
Yeah, you got one of the biggest blessings in life that you can have is to know what you want.
Yeah,
That I can't overemphasize that is if you had no money but you knew what you wanted with sincerity, kind of like you said, you know who you are as a person, you know what's important to you, you know what you're driving towards.
yeah,
Just that knowledge alone, there are people with endless amounts of money who are lost and they can't
100%.
even tell you what
Yeah,
they want anymore because they achieved what they thought they wanted and they find out it wasn't, and then now they're just lost. So to me, one of the greatest things you can achieve in life is to know what you want and you
and
know
know who
what's
you
important
are.
to you. Yeah.
100%. Because I meet a lot of people now because of social media, and I really don't take in. I don't think about it ever, but every now and then I run into people and they tell me how much I motivate them, and that's something
Mm,
I'm learning to get used
mm,
to now. Because they're like, bro, when I watch your videos, I get motivated. I'm like, wow, I do that for you, and it's humbling. People
mm,
message me now on Facebook saying, bro, like I watched this video on you, how you're talking about hard work and stuff. This really resonates with me because I'm a single mother. I've got I think she said she had 8 kids. This lady, her
mm,
name is Anna. Anna, she's like, I'm a
mm,
single mom with 8 kids, and I don't know how I'm surviving right now, but I watched one of your videos and it's motivating me to keep grinding. And I sent her a little
mm,
voice message. I said, Anna, look, I grew up with 10 siblings, and I know how hard it is for my parents and when we grew up. The one thing I can promise you is if you stay true to yourself and work hard, you will make it. You
mm,
just never give up. And I said this to her in a voice message. I told her you can never give up. No matter how hard you think it is, no matter how stuck you think you are, there's always another way out. But
mm,
you can't ever give up. And she sent me another beautiful message, thanking me, and she hopes one day I can meet her kids. And I was like, me too. I hope I can see you because I hope I can see these people I'm talking to. And this is where I go back to the beginning of this conversation. My end goal is to help people because
mm,
I never thought I'd be in this position where I can just talk to people and I'm speaking light to them, giving them hope, giving them a purpose. Maybe they were lacking on a bit of motivation. And just because I said something about being true to yourself, being hardworking, lights a fire in them, that makes me feel, if I'm not gonna lie, it makes me emotional sometimes when I read some of these messages because it's humbling. The fact
mm.
that you can touch people's lives is it's a blessing on its own. So yeah.
no, 100%. Masi, looking here, we're coming up on 2 hours. That's usually kind of our target as a ceiling. So
Yeah.
I think we're kind of circling out the conversation here. We'll go, Masi, any closing thoughts? I'll give some closing thoughts, and then we'll have Alfie, you know, close it out for us. Bring us home. Any thoughts, Mr.
Yeah.
Aotearoa?
No, just grateful for you, Alfie, Mafi. Setting your time aside to join us, just to have Talanoa talk stories. I found this episode to be very informative, and I feel like it's very important to exchange ideas. And you shared some interesting perspective that I feel like everyone needs to hear about. Also, I always find speaking is very important because we always advocate. I let the ideas compete. We don't have
Mm-hmm.
to get in physical contact now, but the world is moving towards, if they can't tolerate you, it's assassination, as we can see, or attempted assassination. It's unfortunate, but I hope our society does be able to share ideas and still live amongst one another. And still, if your idea loses, then your idea loses. It's let the ideas compete, and I feel like you're an important part of the social media of just sharing that, Alfie. And I hope you keep doing it, and I wish you nothing but the best. So Malo, and that's all for me.
Yeah, appreciate that, Masi. I'm trying, as I was listening to you, Masi, and I'm trying to think how I would summarize our discussion here on the Digital Kava session. on the
Mm.
Polynesian Eyes podcast. One of the things that stuck out to me was no matter where you are, no matter what you think, go do something. I think the
Mm.
biggest mistake you can do is do nothing, right?
Mm.
If you don't know what you want or what your goal is, then do what you think you want and do what you think your goal is.
Mm.
And what I found is when you're working towards something, when you're just out doing something, you're happier, you're more successful, and you actually learn different things, and you might actually learn what you really want. But the
Mm.
key is don't sit around, don't
Yeah.
feel sorry for yourself all day, don't blame others, because really all it does is it makes you sadder, makes you angrier,
Yeah.
it makes you
Envy.
envious. Nothing positive comes from sitting around and doing nothing. And one of the
Mm.
things I kind of drew from our conversation today, Alfie, is no matter what, just go do something. And that
Mm.
something is better than nothing. And that will get you a lot closer to what you want to achieve in life than sitting around and blaming others and waiting for someone to do it for you. Right.
Yeah.
And that's just not the way it works. And as Masi mentioned, Alfie, really appreciate your time, really appreciate your willingness to throw ideas out there. Like Masi said, we're
Mm.
big proponents of when you go to the kava session, you better come. Your ideas better have roundhouse kicks. It better be able to defend,
Mm.
a
Mm.
chokehold. And if your idea dies, you should be grateful because it was a bad idea. It's better to
Mm,
have the bad ideas die than for you to waste your life pursuing a bad idea. And
of course.
really appreciate your time and energy and your willingness to come to our humble little podcast that no one knows
Mm.
about. But really appreciate it, Alfie. Malo.
Wow.
No, thank you, Masi. Thank you, Tua. I really enjoyed this conversation that we had. I liked the fact that we could, push back on certain points that we had, and it was all fun, you know.
Mm.
And this is what more people should get involved with: having dialogue, speaking to people. The reason why you have a lot of problems with your family and your friends is because you're not having dialogue. You're not
Mm.
disagreeing with each other, and just because
Mm.
you disagree doesn't mean you have to get violent with each other. And I think
Mm.
that's a good point. Just and go out there and try something. If it doesn't work, go again. Never give up. But in terms of closing thought, I think we've pretty much talked about everything. I don't have anything more else to say about in closing. But love one
All right.
another. Yeah, just love one another. Have fun and have a crack.
Yeah,
As
Mm.
have a
Australians
crack at
say,
it.
I don't know if they say that in America, but have a crack.
Yeah, not in America. That definitely sounds like an Aussie saying right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So I appreciate it. And one of the things we leave with all our viewers and listeners on every episode is be bold. Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions and always stay curious. Malo, until next time, peace.
Peace. Malo.
see you, everybody.
Malo.